Hello everyone, I am Idona Jean-Baptiste with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, new leadership at the helm of the National Workers' Union. US-based leader of the People's Progressive Party won't say whether dual citizenship will be an issue heading into the 2020 general election. And the local sports icon targets movie star fame. The details of the news after this.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
Welcome back. First up, the issue of dual citizenship has come up as a new party making up some Dominicans who live in the US is proposing to contest the general elections. The leader of the People's Progressive Party of Dominica, Sophia Carrington, left Dominica while a 4th form student of the convent high school. While one seeking Dominican citizenship, according to the laws, would not be required to renounce their citizenship, the country's constitution does not allow a Dominican with dual citizenship to hold public office. Carrington has lived in the U.S. for over 30 years, but would not deny or admit whether she held American citizenship.
Well, I don't see what the defense has to be. There's a law. It's either it's a violation of the law or it's not. And only a judge can determine if something is a violation. Whether I'm a dual citizen or not, no, I will not confirm nor deny that. I feel Dominicans need to focus on issues that plague us as a country. Whether I am or I'm not does not change our situation. What I know is I'm prepared to fight for Dominicans and be able to make sure they and the country become more economically viable. I will make sure I do what I need to legally to serve my country.
Carrington, who admits she has never been registered to vote in Dominica, says it is unfair for her not to be able to participate in the electoral process of her native country because of its existing laws.
I haven't been to Dominica in a couple of years, and that was actually intentional. I have never voted in Dominica simply because I have not lived in Dominica long enough to register to vote. In order to register to vote, you have to live in Dominica for at least 3 consecutive months, which is actually a problem I brought up to the electoral office, because one of the things, we have a lot of students being shipped out, right? So now when they leave, most of them are either before 18 or just turned 18, but they didn't quite get to register to vote. So now what? You're going to say they don't belong, in Dominica to vote because they can't establish residency?
She suggests that the electoral laws are archaic and requires revision with a view to updating them.
So, for example, in the U.S., if a dual citizen chooses to vote election in his or her home country, a U.S. citizen cannot lose his or her citizenship in the U.S., especially if he or she did not intend to lose the citizenship. So why should a natural-born citizen not be given the right to participate in the electoral process? We have parliamentarians proposing and attempting to pass laws that are making it harder for people to vote. You are systematically disempowering your own people. Reform needs to happen, and it needs to happen where it encourages people to vote. We're not back in slavery days, and that's where I feel they're taking us. It's already taken us about 200 years back.
The United Workers' Party, following the 2009 general election, contested the election of Prime Minister Skerrit and MP for Lapland Peter Seja on the basis that they were not qualified to be nominated as candidates since they held dual citizenship. However, the UWP lost that election petition trial. The court learned that both Mr. Skerrit and Seja obtained their French citizenship by affiliation and not voluntarily, and that there was no evidence that they had applied for a certificate of French nationality. Pathologist Dr. Gail Defoe is the only agro-processor among 5 Dominican women chosen for a program which will expose them to access grant funding. The Women Empowered Through Export is a Caribbean Export Development Agency initiative. It is designed to support Caribbean women in business to start exporting or increase the exports of their products and services. Defoe, the proprietor of Caribbean Agro Producers Corporation, is one of the largest manufacturers on island whose business was seriously devastated by Hurricane Maria. Having suffered loss at her processing plant in Wesley and on her farms, Defoe has had to start from the ground up.
In addition to us losing, I think a lot of people don't realize that also our workers have lost. They've lost their houses, their transportations, their farms, and we also farm, and we've lost our farms. So it's not only losing in the factory, but also losing the ability to supply our raw inputs.
The Women Empowered Through Export program will put her in a position to receive technical expertise to grow her business to further capitalize on the export market. With 56 products ranging from a line of herbal teas, herbal capsules, tinctures, loose leaf teas, and herbal syrups, Defoe has already secured some big markets in China, Europe, and South America.
We actually supply Guadeloupe and Martinique, the Carrefour supermarkets. When you can enter the French market, and our distributors are one of the largest in the world, and she thinks our packaging is one of the top packaging that she has. So we have much to do with for our teas with our packaging, which is acceptable in Europe and certainly in the top French countries.
In more news, government support to micro, small and medium-sized businesses is expected to roll out soon. That's according to Minister for Small Business Development Roslyn Paul. Paul says help would have come to this sector sooner, but there were some delays in identifying the source of funds.
A number of small businesses were grossly affected. Our private sector is dominated by MSMEs. And we will be providing some support. Unfortunately, it's delayed, and we had to make some changes in terms of whether we go through the World Bank way or not. And it has been decided that in government, in their wisdom, prefers to use our own resources for that type of program. So we should be rolling out some support to MSMEs at this time. We have also, as you know, following the Hurricane Maria, some amendments were made to available resources at the aid bank as well that would benefit private sector development.
She says the declaration of 1,200 jobs by the Prime Minister will also directly benefit those involved in the sector.
A number of private sector will be benefiting in that regard in terms of retaining some employees and getting back on track or improving their human resource needs that would assist them greatly. So government has put in place has taken certain actions that will benefit. Government has also assisted some private sector to clean up, has provided support to some private sector that has approached the government. So in that regard, you would have noticed that the economy is economic business activities, commercial activities has gradually been restored and revamped.
On the education scene, grades 5 and 6 students of all primary schools around the island are to benefit from an approximately $30,000 donation. Andrea Louis has more.
The Lee Brenison Foundation partners with schools in developing nations to provide clean drinking water, solar power, low-carbon stoves, and critical tech solutions, among other things, as part of their Eco-Schools curriculum. Chairman of the foundation explained to pupils at the Goodwill Primary School the importance of solar power moving forward.
While you have suffered for 6 months without electricity, if we can move forward and have solar panels on houses, then if there is a storm, you can take the panel off so it doesn't blow away, and the next morning put it back on and always have electricity. Okay? It has a solar cell which collects light from the sun and turns it into electricity. there is no pollution whatsoever.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Chandler Hyacinth, says the ministry is committed to working with the foundation in implementing creative ideas for the education sector.
And we look forward to continued support from his foundation. He has a lot of ideas on things we can do to develop creative thinking in our students, to make learning fun for our students. We are willing and able to work with him so that we can create that kind of environment which will stimulate the minds of our students so that they can excel and they can do better.
On the topic of school refurbishment, Hyacinth says work is ongoing to restore the 27 severely damaged schools across the island.
It is challenging times as we seek to rehabilitate the 27 schools which suffered damage on the island. It is a daunting task to prepare all our schools so that we can have safe learning spaces for our students. A number of organizations have assisted us in rebuilding here at Goodwill Primary School, and we're still awaiting another group who are going to come to do the other section of the school. Hopefully we should be able to have new facilities that all our students can be at school all at the same time.
The distribution of solar lamps started in the Southern Education District on Monday and is expected to cover all primary schools in all education districts before the end of the week. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
This is Channel 5 News. Much more when we return.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Welcome back. Former president of the National Workers Union, Rawlins Jemmott, says that the union is very much in existence and its future is in capable hands. Julian Morris reports.
Channel 5 News went in search of Rawlins Jemmott on Tuesday after we were told the National Workers Union had folded. Jemmott says that's not so. In fact, Jemmott says he has been away from the union for some time due to illness, but he actually resigned 10 years ago and stayed on as Honorary President General. Arlington Wilson and Augustus Griffiths are the current leaders of the National Workers Union, a team which Jemmott believes is experienced and capable of carrying out the union's mandate.
For those who are concerned about the status of the union, are things in good hands as far as you're aware?
Oh yes, because Griffith and Wilson have over 12 years experience at negotiations and restorations. And Griffith is about 13 years involved in the Industrial Relations Board. And Wilson's about 15 years as a member of the Board of Tribunal. And they involved in negotiations between Ross and Kilwise and the six guys here are well equipped.
Did Hurricane Maria affect your numbers in any way? I know a lot of people lost jobs.
Oh, a lot of people lost jobs. And then some of them we weren't quite sure where they are, some of them few countries. So there's a lot of, there are no contact with some of the workers. We try to get them over by telephone, we can't.
The NWU represents workers at a number of private sector entities, namely Paramount Printers, Tobacco Factory, West Indies Sand, 8 Bank, National Petroleum and Rubis. Jemmott may have retired from leadership in the NWU, but he remains connected and is up to date on the latest developments, including the decision by Roseau Central MP Joseph Isaac to join the Roosevelt-Skerritt cabinet as minister.
Coming to the last issue that boggles the minds of our people in our country is that guy, Isaac, I say hail to him. Hail to where he come from. Kakowell. Kakowell producing people like Dr. Trouble and Rawlins Jemmott and Isaac. Isaac has come from Kakowell, and I love that guy, what he did. He's brave, he's strong, and he has the metal that you think of. His thoughts very good. to make a move like that at that time, at a crisis time, is very good for Roseau and for Dominican world. And people should emulate him. And Prime Minister, again, being astute, he took the opportunity to welcome him in the party to help the country also. So Roseau got a good man, independent, very good thinker. Because in time of crisis, we need people like that to come on board. So other people who have this any kind of contribution to make for Dominica should look as a very, very brave guy.
But you know, people resent this kind of thing. People say, look, you've taken my vote and you're crossing the floor. I'm not happy. What do you say to that?
The people who say so misunderstood the whole thing. The guy said it is for Dominica and for Rosa. He didn't say for party. He said Dominica first. Listen to what he said. Hearing is one, but listening is the second thing, you know. And you must have Holy Spirit understanding. But the Holy Spirit has to be able to understand what he's saying. I did for Dominica. I did for Roseau. He didn't say what party. Respect that. The man is respect. And he said he tried to bring that message across to his party and they failed to understand. They don't hear him at all. They don't hear him about what he's saying. And the country needs people like him. We need resources. You don't run away with resources. The man is a skilled man, a resource. He want to put his on the back seat, lying down there, saying, doing nothing. He wants to put forward his good foot to help the country. Say hell to him. And the man from Kakowell, hell to him from River Street. I born in River Street too, you know, where we born. I love the guy. You see, I love the Prime Minister also to actually seize that initiative.
Rawlings Jemmott began his career in trade unionism in 1975 as a field officer for the Dominica Amalgamated Workers Union, DAW. The NWU itself was formed in 1977. Julian Morris, Channel 5 News.
Executive Director of Lifeline Ministries, Tina Alexander, anticipates that while recovery intensifies, victims of sexual abuse since Hurricane Maria will be more motivated to report the offense. Alexander says some victims of sexual abuse have been coming forward since the September disaster.
And I think too sometimes people found it hard to find someone to talk to. And so they just buried it all down again and said, no, I won't talk about it now. But as things get better, and they are getting better, as people get their roofs on, they get their light back, they make sure their water's reliable, as those basic needs are met, so people are going to get courage again to say, you know, I shouldn't really cover this up, I should really talk about it. And remember that somebody who abuses you, if they stop abusing you, they probably go on and abuse somebody else. So you're doing good not just for yourself, but for other people too, when you come forward and say, this happened, it was wrong. I know that I need to speak about it. So I am getting some people coming to talk to me.
Alexander recognizes that victims were unable to rely on the structures that existed due to the impact of Hurricane Maria.
We have had a few situations, sad situations, where people have been exploited in their displaced situation. And maybe they didn't know who to call. But then they remember Sister Tina, so they get me on Facebook or on WhatsApp. And maybe sometimes the official agencies were a bit tied up dealing with relief and assistance. We know that all the youth officers, for example, were moved to assess people's housing situation. So maybe the usual portals of reporting were not there. And so people have come to me and I can help them get in touch with the right people.
And the absence of Ross University School of Medicine continues to have a negative impact on the town of Portsmouth, but not just through the lack of income to apartment owners and businesses. Andrea Louis tells us more.
The Respite Center in Chance, Portsmouth was opened in July 2016 with the aim of providing daycare services for disabled children as well as helping to develop their motor skills. The center caters primarily for children in the north of the island. President of Parents Advocating for the Inclusion of Children with Disabilities in Society, Ainsworth Irish, says the institution was benefiting from the presence of Ross University and the wider Portsmouth community.
We had done a child find, I think it was in 2005, where we went around the island and found that there were in excess of 400 children, especially in the north, who were challenged and there's nothing they could do. So then we decided to set up that center on the north. The government assisted us with the land, and we were tapping into Ross University. Some of their students, their medical students, would come and, help. And then we're looking long term to have physiotherapists, speech therapists, and all these people come to the center to help to develop these skills and so on.
Iris says among the long-term plans of the institution is a transportation system to ensure the wards of the Respite Center get to and from the destination safely.
We would like to see long-term an extension to the center where we can accommodate more children. And one of the things we're trying to get is to get a vehicle. We had asked the government to give us a vehicle, but again, the Prime Minister was making a good suggestion. He was saying, look, if we give you a vehicle, then you have to maintain it and there'll be added costs. So what he's trying to do is to work out something with the Ministry of Education where a bus service can come and pick up the children from Kalibishi on the north and bring them to the center. Those from St. Joseph, Salisbury, bring them and then take them back. The PM, we had discussions with him late last year and indicated that the ministry would have put something in place. But again, you had the ravages of Hurricane Maria, and they had to prioritize, and as a result, that is still on the back burner.
The Respite Center was funded to the tune of just over $1 million EC, and before Hurricane Maria, provided care for 12 children. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
That's news. Sports highlights next with Kenny Williams.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
On the basketball scene, Dominica State College had a good start to their title defense when they defeated Portsmouth Secondary in the school's basketball league on Monday. Playing at the Hart Court in St. Joseph, defending champion State College finished 41 points ahead to beat PSS 82-41 despite its valiant efforts. Richard Joseph scored 16 points, 5 rebounds for DSC, with Josh Joseph adding 14 points, 2 steals. Fewani Foy, 10 points, 6 rebounds, and Nathan Sebastian, 8 points, 11 rebounds to further extend the lead. In a thrilling third-quarter moment, DSC's McLaren O'Brien smashed a face-foul against one of the PSS players, which added much excitement for the appreciative crowd at the match. In a losing effort, Dante Xavier netted a game-high of 19 points for PSS, with a hard-fought 11.7 rebounds and 2 blocks from Shama Felicite. The league continues Wednesday with St. Mary's Academy going toe-to-toe with Dominica Grammar School in the males category at the SMA grounds. And Pierre Charles Secondary will play host to St. John's Academy. All games are scheduled to begin at 3 in the afternoon. In cricket, preparation continued for the senior men's tournament with notable performances from the practice matches over the weekend. Among the outstanding performances were Kamal Hamilton's 5 wickets for 17 runs, a half-century of 50 runs from leading run scorer at the ICC Under-19 World Cup Alec Athanas, 4 wickets for 17 runs from Kemba Charles, 34 not out from Daniel Dupini, a hard-fought 71 from Josiah Hilton, and Taj Tavernier 68. This year, the competition will take a 50 overs aside format as opposed to the 2-day competition among Windward Islands. The 2018 Senior Men's Tournament is scheduled to begin on May 23 in St. Lucia. Next up, Dominica will not be participating in any indoor regional volleyball tournaments this year. The news came out of an annual general meeting held on the weekend. The president's report noted that because volleyball currently does not have a home to facilitate proper training, a decision was taken that Dominica will forego regional indoor games but will compete in beach leagues as far as Colombia this year. However, the teams were encouraged to keep playing in the absence of lit courts, since the commencement of the National League and completion of the Business League are two competitions on the cards for this year. Additionally, President of Dominica Amateur Volleyball Association pointed out a notable decrease in interest in the sport by volleyball fans here. He recalls that was not the case in the past and says this is a major area of concern for the association.
People will come. Once it's there, once we market it, people are aware, and our games start being exciting, we have a good product, people are going to come. Portsmouth used to come with a crowd before those days. Portsmouth come with their dry six. Marigot used to come down with bus load. You know what I mean? Even in teams in Rose, don't talk for Point Michel. Point Michel come down with 2 bus loads. That's how we to make our most money when Point Michel teams come down. Point Michel and Marigot. You know what I mean? So I think one of the problems is also the volleyball in the different communities. It's dropping. It's dropping, and we need to make an effort to build those things back up.
We continue with this item where one local sports icon is eyeing movie star fame next. Shana Robin has achieved many accolades in his years as a martial artist, but recently expressed a desire to go even further. After releasing his documentary dubbed A Journey of Courage, One Chance is All I Need, Robin says he hopes to become an actor. He says the inspiration came from an ongoing project. Robin has acted in short films locally and overseas that have gained some traction on his online platforms of YouTube and Facebook.
I've been spending a lot of time working on a lot of things that I cannot say right now, but keep your ears open because it will unfold eventually. Who knows, the next thing from there is a movie coming out from all of that, because when my agent in Canada saw it, they said, the first thing they said, that's a movie right there. So we have that's what I'm saying, there's a lot of things in the pipeline, and I just don't want to get too excited. You know, they always say don't count your chicken before it hatch. So we're just taking it one step at a time. But you keep your ears open, brother. You're going to hear a lot of fantastic things coming from Universal Martial Arts, from Shana Robin, Xian, and I'm just happy to be an advocate for young people. I'm doing my best to be the best role model that I can to inspire and remotivate the minds of our young people in Dominica.
Robin is also working on a book that is expected to be released soon.
Right now, I have a book that is ready to come out. It's called A Humble Master's Journey. Actually, The Journey of Courage, which is the documentary, was the inspiration from that book. And that book is not about a book you just read a story about a little boy. No, it's a motivational book with 58 lessons that will teach you how to set goals and accomplish them. So yes, you've been told a story about a little boy, but that little boy had to have rules, standards, a timetable. What did he do to achieve? What did I do to achieve the goals and to become the person that I am today? So that's what the Humble Master's Journey is about. It's already edited. We're just looking for a really nice publisher because I think it could be a bestseller.
And 4 teams will move on to the semi-finals of the Guineas 400 Domino League soon. Defending league champions Enemies, Golden Arms, Rebels and Wake Up Stars outperformed their competitors and secured spots in the next round of play in action from the weekend. 2 of the 4 matches were easy victories for Wake Up Stars and Golden Arms, while the other 2 matches were hard-fought wins for Enemies and Rebels. Wake Up Stars defeated Metrics by 1,430 points. Scores Stars 4,020, Metrics 2,590. Golden Arms also had an easy victory, beating Laplane by 742 points. Scores Golden Arms 4,001, Laplane 3,258. Rebels showed that they could hold their own against Dolphins to win by 53 points. Scores Rebels 4,013, Dolphins 3,960. Finally, Enemies fought valiantly against the determined Baghdad team to win by 111 points. Final scores, Enemies 4,011, Baghdad 3,900. The semi-finals is carded for Sunday at Runners Bar in Cadefield. There, Golden Arms will come up against Rebels, while defending champions Enemies will do battle with Wake Up Stars. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Be sure to join us next time.
When persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
To end the news, the headlines again. New leadership at the helm of the National Workers' Union. US-based leader of the People's Progressive Party won't say whether dual citizenship will be an issue. Heading into the 2020 general election, and the local sports icon targets movie star fame. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idonia Jean-Baptiste. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.